What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video. We're here for another weekly ROH TV review. Now, I will apologize because this one is a bit delayed. The reasoning being that ROH had technical difficulties on their end uploading the episode. And I checked every once in a while to see if it was still uploaded, and it did not get uploaded onto Honor Club until about 12 o'clock on Friday, which is very funny because I normally have the weekly review uploaded by then, and I don't like watching it live because you can't pause. It goes very fast paced. You know, sometimes you need to pause to catch up on a lot of the stuff that happens. So again, I apologize for the delay, but better late than never. This is the final battle aftermath of first episode since Final Battle. There's some notes about Final Battle that I'll talk about during the review. The first matchup is the Workhorsemen versus the Von Erichs. Anthony Henry faced Eddie Kingston at Final Battle. I know I talked about it a lot, that, oh my God, the Ring of Honor World Champion doesn't have a match at Final Battle. But it was the second to last match, I believe. It's either the second to last or third to last match on the Final Battle event. But Eddie Kingston won in a Proving Ground match. And the Von Erichs defeated the Outrunners on the 0 hour. So here we go. Drake and Ross start the match off with the Von Erichs having the advantage early until including a double drop kick. But Drake takes Ross out while on the outside, leading to Drake mocking the Iron Claw, which I've heard a lot about the Von Erichs over the past month or so, mainly in promotion to the Iron Claw movie, and then Ross and Marshall have been competing on AEW and now Ring of Honor the past 2 weeks, so there is the mention of the Iron Claw right here. I've yet to see the movie. I feel like it's probably not a bad movie, but at some point I will watch this movie. I don't know if I'll go to the theaters to watch it. I might wait till it is available at home. So that was my thoughts on the movie. Back to what I was saying. Drake misses a splash off the second rope twice, actually, with Marshall then applying the claw to him, but Anthony Henry breaks it up. Then he gets taken out with a sling blade on the outside, and then Marshall wins the matchup with a moonsault for the Von Erichs. After the matchup, Anthony Henry attacks, but Kevin Von Erich, who was at ringside, he was not really managing. He was just sitting there watching the match, but he does get involved after it to put Anthony Henry in an Iron Claw. So will we see more of the Von Erichs, as now they're 2-0 in Ring of Honor competition? I wouldn't mind it. Next matchup is a Proving Ground match, this being Athena versus Maya World. And obviously, with it being a Proving Ground match, that means Athena is still the women's champion, as she retained against Billy Starks in the main event match. After the matchup, they kinda mended fences and are back as a duo, but maybe they're on equal playing field this time, as Billy Starks proved herself in the main event matchup. The early portion of this matchup is a lot of forearms and taunting from Athena. Maya fights back and attempts several roll-ups and hits a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Maya then attempts a split-legged moonsault with Athena moving out of the way and Athena winning the matchup with the O-face. I will say this. Out of the Athena, because a lot of times when Athena competes on Ring of Honor TV, it's normally a straight-up title matchup against a worthy contender, or it's a Proving Ground match against someone that is relatively unknown. And in the case of Maya World, they mentioned several times on commentary, this is our rookie year. This is our first year. So out of the Proving Ground matches that Athena has had, I feel this was the most notable and the most that a competitor pushed her to the edge, which kind of makes sense. She just had this grueling matchup last week with Billy Starks. And speaking of Billy Starks, she joins Athena in the ring as she stands over Maya World, as Athena attacked Maya after the matchup. Then we get an announcement from Tony Khan that I personally am not a fan of. I was going to say hate, but hate is a strong word. I think I'll grow to like it. But Tony Khan announced that Ring of Honor will be adding the Women's Television Championship. But more details will come on throughout the coming weeks. And it's funny because I see a lot of complaints from mainly AEW fans. I know a great majority of if you're a Ring of Honor fan nowadays, you're more than likely an AEW fan just because of the connection. So I am both. And again, a lot of this is things that I see on Twitter. That is very much how I basing this. But a consensus opinion that I have saw for months is that there are too many championships in both companies. And the main, like, why are there 2 6-man championships? Why are there this so-and-so title? And now, it's a bit hilarious, because with the addition of this championship, so in AEW, you have the World Championship, the TNT Championship, the International Championship, the Tag Team, the 6-man, the Women's, and then the TBS. So 7 championships in AEW, and technically the FTW title, and I'm not going to count the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, because that's not an AEW title. Ring of Honor. So how many? So I'm going to say 7. I'm not going to count the FTW title. In Ring of Honor, you have the World, the TV, the Pure, the Tag Team, the 6-man, the Women's, and now this Women's Television Championship. Personally, this is a hot take that I've had for a while, and it kind of is not really relevant because the person I'm talking about is not in the company anymore. But I felt AEW created the TBS Championship to build the division, or to keep Jade away from the World Heavyweight title, and she gets to be, because at some point she's going to keep being undefeated. She's going to need a damn championship or challenge for the Women's Championship. I just felt they didn't want to put her in the Women's Championship. Now, I feel it's something very similar, where Athena's had this year-long reign now with the Women's Championship. But there are a lot of worthy women in Ring of Honor, competing in Ring of Honor, but they're not going to be Women's Champion in Ring of Honor anytime soon, so let's give them another championship. Again, personally, I don't really like it, because I don't know what's really going to distinct someone from competing for the Women's Television Championship over the Women's actual championship. I don't really know. And I'm going to hope to goodness that like I said, Athena's just had this year-ass-long reign. I'm going to hope a Samoa Joe situation doesn't happen where Athena's like, yeah, I'm just been too dominant. I'm going to vacate the title. I know that has nothing to do with this Women's TV title. I just don't really know what the positive is of it. I just don't. It's a lot. There's way more questions than answers, is the moral of the story. And like I said, that's why I didn't use the word hate in the beginning, because it's not really worthy of being hated. But it's just like, I feel it's a little bit unnecessary. And it's just also funny that now 14 championships technically. And it's an even amount between both companies. So we'll see what happens with this championship in the future. Next matchup is Big Shotty Lee Johnson versus Dante Martin, who's making his return to Ring of Honor in singles competition. He's had several matches in his comeback in AEW. Both men struggle to take one another down in the beginning, but it is mainly arm drags. Dante gets the advantage following a tope suicida, but Lee Johnson hits a dive to the outside as well. Dante hits a pop-up knee for a 2 count. Johnson hits a rolling Spicoli driver and standing moonsault for a 2 count. And then Dante wins with a it's technically a stand-in black hole slam. Like, normally the maneuver, they bounce off the rope and then they get the black hole slam, where this time around he was just in front of him, and that's what he hit to win the matchup. So Dante Martin picks up the victory. I'll also mention this now. All right, I was going to mention it now because I didn't really know how to cover the Survival of the Fittest matchup that took place at Final Battle. But Kyle Fletcher became the new Ring of Honor Television Champion. And the main reason I was mentioning that now is because Lee Johnson was involved in that matchup. Now, we get a promo from Ethan Page, who defeated Tony Nese at Final Battle in their I Quit match with the help from his former tag team partner, Scorpio Sky. Essentially, in this promo, he is saying that him and Scorpio Sky, it's not really a Men of the Year reunion, but they do have one another's back, and that Ethan Page is now on his road back to getting gold, which, I just spent like 5 freaking minutes talking about the championships in Ring of Honor. He's got 10 in total. That's a lie. Actually, no, it's not a lie. He has 10 in total he can really challenge for, because I would imagine he is not allowed to challenge for these women's championships I've just been talking about. So we'll see what happens when that happens. Next matchup is Willie Mack and Blake Christian versus the Gates of Agony, who I believe this is I don't remember if they competed last week. But this might be their first matchup back from the New Japan Tag League, and they competed at Final Battle in a 6-man tag team title match, defeating TMDK. And Blake Christian also had a match at Final Battle, but he lost to Daniel Garcia on the 0 Hour. Christian and Khan start the match off. Christian gets slammed all around the outside of the ring, including into the turnbuckle, into the guardrail, and to the announcer table. But Christian gets the tag to Mac, who hits a standing moonsault on Khan. Christian dives through the legs of Toa, who was standing in the way, trying to prevent him to get into Khan. But like I said, he dove through his legs. Khan then hits the pounce, period, on Mac. And then the Gates of Agony win with a double choke slam on Blake Christian. I don't want to say Christian in general because I would think of Christian Cage. And then there's a lot of Prince Nana dancing, including one point where he almost slipped. And then he had to cover it up by dancing even more. So I had to make note of that. Next matchup is the Iron Savages and Jacked Jameson versus the Righteous and Lance Archer. Jameson and Vincent start the match off, even though a lot of this matchup is Bronson getting triple teamed by his opponents, while Boulder is outside the ring trying to get the fans involved, just smacking himself and just showcasing himself. Now, that is me putting it in a PG way. If you're watching it, if you were to actually watch what was happening, it's not really PG. That is the best way to put that. And then Boulder eventually does tag in, but it does not matter as the Righteous hit the Autumn Sunshine on Jack Jameson to win the matchup. So, and Vincent mentioned it was either after the match or during the match, he mentioned that he is a former 4-time 6-man tag team champion. So will these three go after this? I won't lie. Gates of Agony, Brian Cage, Mogul Embassy, versus the Righteous and Lance Archer, I feel would be an I would say an even matchup, but it's kind of difficult to say that because the Mogul Embassy held the 6-man tag team titles for almost a year. It would be a full year if they didn't lose them to the Young Bucks and Hangman on Page for that month, but you get the point I'm saying. Where the Righteous and Lance Archer, this is their first 6-man match in Ring of Honor, but they were a formidable trio. Next matchup is Taya Valkyrie versus Vert Vixen. I won't lie to you. I don't remember who Taya Jasmine Allure, off the top of my memory. Taya faced Jasmine Allure at Final Battle. Vert Vixen lost to Nyla Rose at Final Battle. This matchup was very long, but extremely... I'm not going to say extremely long, but it was a dominant one-sided matchup with Taya being the dominator in this matchup, and that came after help from Johnny TV on the outside. And she won the matchup with a curb stomp. Now, going back to the TV title matchup, or TV title Survival of the Fittest matchup, my prediction for the mystery person was going to be Johnny TV. Ended up being Brian Keith. Was not mad at that at all. But Johnny TV did insert himself up into the matchup by interrupting and costing Dalton Castle. And throughout the night, we had different perspectives between the two men, but they weren't really even talking about the television championship. They were just mainly talking about how their presence is needed on television. Next, Shane Taylor Promotions had a very impressive outing at Final Battle. Both of them lost as Lee Moriarty had several eliminations in their Survival of the Fittest, but again, ultimately did not become champion. And Shane Taylor lost to Keith Lee. So they were happy that they were impressive at Final Battle, but ultimately they lost and are looking forward to proving themselves and being better afterwards. Next matchup is Charlotte Renegade versus Rachel Ellering. Rachel has the advantage until Robin grabs her from the outside. Ellering has a comeback after some elbows, and then Ellering's suplex only gets a 2 count. Maria Kanellis, who, along with Layla Hirsch, was accompanying Rachel Ellering, starts to grab the foot at Rachel Ellering, while Charlotte and Robin are causing a distraction. And Layla Hirsch notices that Maria does this, and maybe Maria was trying to help the Renegade Twins win, but it did not help whatsoever as Ellering won the matchup with a boss woman slam. Next matchup is a 3-team tag team matchup. The Outrunners versus the Infantry versus Darius Martin and Action Andretti. Andretti and Bravo are the first 2 legal men in the matchup, but Truth Magnum wants in, and I won't lie to you, this matchup was mainly the Outrunners getting double-teamed by their opponents, and Action Andretti won the matchup for his team after a running shooting star onto Truth Magnum. Next matchup, an 8 man tag. Angelico, Serpentico, Griff Garrison, and Cole Carter versus Gravity, The Boys, and Dalton Castle. I already broke down what happened to Dalton Castle at Final Battle. Gravity, and I did not mention, though, that Dalton Castle was very distraught and slow and needed coffee and just needed a lot of energy because it seemed like he has not slept since Final Battle. So that was kind of a story in the early portion of the match. Gravity and Serpentico are the first two legal men, with Brent getting tagged in and then trapped in his opponent's corner until he's finally able to get that tag to Castle that I mentioned. Then the Spanish Announce Project and Cole Carter argue while they're trying to fight Dalton Castle because this is an 8-man tag. You know, these three men, you know, don't necessarily get along that well. And this prompts Gravity and the Boys to do a dive onto all three of them. And Castle wins the matchup for his team after he hits the bangarang on Griff Garrison. Now we get to our main event. Gringo Loco and Jack Cartwheel versus El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander. Last time I get to bring up the Survival of the Fittest. Actually, second to last time I get to bring up the Survival of the Fittest match. Commander was the second to last man in the matchup, and he had an impressive and good chance to win the matchup, but did not, because Kyle Fletcher did. And Jack Cartwheel was on the 0 hour and lost to Brian Keith in the last matchup that was the qualifier for the Survival of the Fittest. And this, I believe, is Jack Cartwheel. I don't remember if he competed. I remember he was in a 4-corner survival, I believe, on the Thanksgiving edition of Ring of Honor. But on his little record thing when he came out, it said 0-2. So I don't remember what his other matchup was, unless they're counting the Final Battle match. That does not matter in the grand scheme of things. Let's get to this main event. Gringo Loco and Vikingo start the match off, but both tag out quickly after both exchange cartwheels. I'll also say this, because there's a competitor in this match named Jack Cartwheel, and there's a lot of cartwheels involved. I will probably refer to him as just Jack. Commander and Jack exchange hurricanranas and cartwheels. Loco starts to tear at the mask of Commander as he and Cartwheel keep... God damn it, I meant to call him Jack. Cartwheel keep him down in their corner. Vikingo tags in and hits a tope suicida, and Commander hits a moonsault, both to the outside. Vikingo misses a frog splash, and then Jack hits a power bomb and a top rope. We get a top rope pop-up leg drop by Vikingo for a 2 count, and then Commander hits his top rope shooting star press on Gringo Loco to win the matchup for his team. And that is it for this episode of Ring of Honor. It was a long episode. I again apologize for it being delayed, but hopefully you understand. But I did upload a video yesterday, second to last episode of the Green Bay Packers franchise. Hopefully you've been keeping up. If not, got one more episode left, the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals. But if you're only here to hear me talk about Ring of Honor, I just did that. So hopefully you enjoy and have a safe holiday weekend. I'm going to keep saying this in all my videos until Christmas is done. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.